All right, guys. So this is my lesson while I am in China regarding business English. So I try to keep it short because we're going to go over more information next week when we have our actual class. All right. So first things first is we're going to be going over Unit 1.4. So if you want to turn to your books to that point, it might be helpful for you folks to highlight. So just to review what we did the other day, I gave you a worksheet that focused on researching what you're going to be writing your letter on. So you had your test prompt, and you have a bunch of questions that would help guide you on what kind of information is required to create a good letter. So so some of the questions that we covered were, what does the reader need? So who is your reader? What do they want to know? As well as yourself. So who are you? And remember, in our class, we discussed that you are an office manager. So this is just a little refresher on what we did the other day. So today we're going to be talking about the organization method of writing a business letter, which is the first one we introduced is the 4-point plan. So the 4-point plan is a general guidelines that can apply to most situations. So if you get this on a test prompt, you can easily apply the 4-point plan model, as well as other general business correspondence that you may have to do in your professional life. The 4-point model is the acronym is ODAC, which stands for Opening, Details, Action, and Close. The method is very simple and straight to the point because, as you know, many business people don't have time to really read letters, so you want to get straight to your point. Remember that the letter does need to have unity in which all the paragraphs work together, and they also need to be coherent in which the paragraphs fit and flow smoothly with one another. So the first part is the opening. Now generally the opening is 2 short sentences. And the first sentence of the opening sets the context of the letter, is a point of reference for both parties, and acknowledges can acknowledge previous correspondence. So I have the model, the example which was used in Unit 1.1 on page 2. And if we take a look over here, this is the opening sentence which follows this method here. So if we take a look, we are writing in response to your request, June 10th, 2011 for a retail account with Nigel's Wood Supply. So that's our first sentence that sets the context. The second sentence states the reason for the letter and tries to persuade the reader and really helps you to write strategically. This is sort of like the thesis statement of the business letter here, and it helps you to line out what exactly you need to have for the rest of the letter. So now go ahead and take a look at Unit 1.1, page 2. So how did the writer set the context in the first sentence? And in paragraph, in sentence 2, what did they state as the reason for the letter, and what kind of language is used? So this shouldn't be paragraph 2, it should be sentence 2. So go ahead and pause the video, take a look at the first paragraph on the letter, and try to answer these questions. Okay, so for the first question, the first sentence of the opening in the example acknowledges that there was a previous correspondence and that there was a request. Now in sentence 2, it clearly states the reason for the letter, why they're writing a letter to the person. So for example, we are pleased to inform you that the request has been approved. So in this case, is that your request has been approved. Now, in terms of language, this is going to be important when you write your business letters. So for example, when we see here, we are pleased to inform you, this is a positive way. We're happy to inform you. Now, if you have to give bad news, it might not be positive like this. So this is just a distinction that you are going to have to do when you write future business letters. Now, the next section is details. So details is the main part of the message, and it includes information the reader needs. So for example, to give some examples, such as sometimes the details give instructions, it may ask for information, or present information to the reader. Remember that the details need to be stated simply, clearly, and precisely. So there shouldn't be ambiguity in the details section. And what you do is you make the paragraphs, based upon a different main idea. So for example, you may be asking, in one paragraph you may be saying, giving details on a particular product, and then in the next paragraph you're explaining what this product does. So each paragraph should have a main idea. So if you have 3 main ideas, there should be 3 main paragraphs. So now what I want you to do is, in the same example on Unit 1.1, page 2, I want you to talk about what details are given on page 2. So go ahead and pause this video, take a look, and develop an idea of what kind of information is provided. Okay, so activities answers. So the detailed information is provided in paragraph 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the details that are provided is, for example, in paragraph 2, it talks about how much credit is given. So $2,000 in credit. It also explains monthly statements, in terms of billing cycle, service charges. Paragraph 3 talks about bank manager and contact info. And then finally, the third paragraph provides information about the company. So these 3 paragraphs are detail paragraphs, and they're stated simply, concisely, and precisely for the reader's benefit. Now, the final paragraph, not the final paragraph, towards the end there's going to have a action paragraph. And this is basically the climax of the communication. It's the key point that you want the reader to focus on and to know. And of course, the key point is connected with the purpose of the letter in general. So, for example, you many times we're asking in our correspondence for the reader to take action, and you explain why they should take that action with a quick justification. Or if you're the one taking action, you need to state what your action is and why you're taking that action. So, for example, this is an action sentence that would be in the action paragraph. So, please let me have full details of the cost involved with some sample menus. So, this is clearly stating to the recipient of the message that you need to provide me how much this is going to cost and what kind of menus we have to choose from. The next one is, if payment is not received within 7 days, we will turn this matter over to our lawyers. So this is sort of a warning statement, is that if we don't get money from you, then in 7 days, specifically 7 days, then we're gonna get our lawyers and we'll sue you and get the money anyways. This is an example of how you have to be precise. So for example, 7 days. Now you could say, if you need to give us the money ASAP, that's not a specific date. But if you say 7 days, you know, the reader will know in 7 days they need to make the payment, or else they have to face the consequences. Okay? So the final activity is, I've given you the test, the practice prompt. So the question I pose to you is, what action do you want to take place? What do you want the reader, who is the real estate person, right? What do you want them to do? So think about that. And what I would like you to do is in the post, go ahead and just write one sentence that explains what you, as the author of the letter for the practice letter, want the real estate agent to do. What is the main key point that you want the real estate agent to do? All right, the last part in the 4-point letter is the close. It's the last paragraph. It contains 2 simple sentences. The first sentence generally expresses thanks. So for example, here we would be very grateful to receive a trial order. The second sentence is a final look forward. We look forward to hearing from you. Now, sometimes the close can also be a final stress point. So for example, I look forward to seeing you at next month's conference. A prompt reply would be most appreciated. Please let me know if you need any further information. So these points are just sort of providing either final key information or final actions that focus on the purpose of the letter. Now, if we take a look back at the example here, we'll notice that the closing here follows this exactly. So we at Nigel's Wood are proud to have you as a customer and welcome the opportunity to serve you, right? So this is expressing thanks. We look forward to a long and prosperous relationship. So this is a final look forward. So this example follows the 4-point letter in terms of the close. Now you may notice that this letter does not provide an action part. Okay. Now in most of the letters you'll be doing in this class, you will need to provide an action part. But in this particular letter, this is more of an information letter, so there isn't really any action that the reader has to do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close here. So the next class, we're going to be going over the rest of the lesson, which is the letter of inquiry, which applies specifically to the practice prompt I gave you folks. And we'll go over the letter of inquiry, and then I'll provide time for you to practice your response to the practice prompt in class. All right. Well, I hope that this was informative. Please let me know if you have any questions. Go ahead and comment below. Other than that, please enjoy your weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday.